Hello, everybody, and welcome to Roll20 Presents The Sprawl. Today is the start of a brand new, super exciting mission, and I cannot wait to see how y'all get screwed over today.
Hey, Adam.
Before we get to that...
Hey, Adam.
Yes.
Before you announce the thing,
yeah,
is preempting you asking to play, is it cyberpunk?
It's pretty punk rock. I don't know about the cyber part. Maybe because we're doing it on the internet, so I'm going to have to go with yes. Not playing by the rules, very cyberpunk.
Good.
Yeah, so we do a little thing here sometimes in which we discuss whether things are or are not cyberpunk. In fact, I was thinking about this. We just need to do a spin-off show where we just spend an hour being like, are these things cyberpunk? I was thinking maybe it'd be cool to, after we've all had a turn, we need to posit a single thing and split into teams and just debate whether or not something is cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I'll moderate. But today's episode of Is It Cyberpunk brought to you by Dave. Dave, would you like to take your turn?
Yeah.
All right, man.
I totally thought about this in advance. We weren't just being like, are you ready for this, Dave? And I was like, no. Okay, let's start with Blue Jay because I think it's funny when she gets confused about this game.
Oh my god, I hate you so much.
Blue Jay is Twitter, except instead of how it currently is, but is actually just short messages relayed by robotic birds that like fly between people.
Oh yeah,
cyberpunk.
hella cyberpunk. Oh yeah, 100% robotic birds, like robotic carrier pigeons.
That feels pretty steampunk to me, I gotta say. That
No,
feels
it's
a little
fine.
steampunk.
If you turn it into like just drones, like by saying it's a robotic carrier pigeon, like maybe, but like just drones relaying messages back and forth for people.
I'm with Blue Jay. I think it could be cyberpunk too.
I don't think just calling them drones makes it cyberpunk.
I think it
I
does.
think calling them
Yeah.
drones
I think
makes
it
it
does, right?
cyberpunk.
Yeah, I mean, just like any of these things, if you put like a veneer or something over it, it kind of works. Like, just it works.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we're. What do you think? You want to weigh in, Andrew, on this one?
I have a follow-up question. Is picking on Blue Jay cyberpunk? Because y'all need to knock it off.
What? What? Oh.
Yes, it is.
Damn it.
Fair. What else you got, Dave?
Elf.
Yeah.
Green lines in a grid pattern cyberpunk.
What?
He's looking at the fucking role.
I mean,
No.
yes.
No.
Then come
Yes,
on.
you
Like,
are.
it's quintessential.
I didn't even hear what you said. I just heard our green lines blank cyberpunk.
Green lines in a grid pattern.
Oh yeah, of course.
Hell is cyberpunk.
Green lines in a grid pattern are cyberpunk as fuck.
Yeah, universally cyberpunk.
Especially like 80s like cyberpunk style kind of stuff. Like
I wonder, can we talk about that aesthetic?
Any cyberspace in the 80s had green grid lines in a black space.
Primitive polygons
all of
floating
them.
around.
Where did that come from? Like, because we all know that, right? You can look at an image that's just a black background with green grid lines and be like, yep, 80s cyber.
It's black and green because that's what computers display.
Yeah.
And it's in a grid pattern because, like Andrew says, it's like simple polygons.
Yeah. But because that came from somewhere, right? Like there's got to be some kind of media to draw on because most people I don't think would think that. They'd be like, oh, that's that thing from all of those like graphics we've seen that are cyberpunk.
Did the grid as a term for intranet or like interconnected network of computers come about before the term internet or like cyber?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because you'd connect computers on like a grid, wouldn't you?
So here's the thing. Is Tron a cyberpunk movie?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Tron is a pre-internet cyberpunk movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Right? Like the internet is
What came out first? Tron or Neuromancer came out before Tron, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and like a lot of the early cyberpunk works don't really have like an internet in the way that we know it. And so they invented other stuff to kind of...
Oh, wow. Tron came out 2 years before Neuromancer.
Yeah, Tron is really...
Yeah, Tron came out in 1982. Neuromancer came out in 1984.
Okay.
So,
the whole,
so
like,
technically,
thing and everything is like born of very early digital graphics, right?
Yeah,
Which were
yeah.
incredibly primitive.
wow, way to go,
So
Tron.
I think Tron was actually like really, really important
Yeah.
as a movie,
Huh.
Yeah.
and it had Jeff Bridges in it.
Yeah.
Which is, all movies
Did
with
I
Jeff.
did I tell you all about the funny thing about how technically Neuromancer, according to the way that books are organized, is not cyberpunk? Did we talk about this, about the like Library of Congress thing?
No, what?
So
Is it because it's too early?
in the Library of Congress, the first book in a new genre, like the book that invents the genre, can't be of that genre because the genre gets created as a response to the book, and they never backdate, they never change a book once it's in the Library of Congress.
Okay.
So Neuromancer went in as sci-fi, invented cyberpunk. Books thereafter are labeled
Are
cyberpunk,
cyberpunk,
but
yeah.
Neuromancer can't be because it invented the thing that it is.
I
Isn't that
actually really
weird?
like that as a means of classification. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because genre is
Yeah, it kind of does.
genre as a thing. There's like, it has stages. It's
It's
whole
really
life cycle.
it's really interesting to me that we're like talking about Neuromancer and like all that stuff, because I have to say I read Neuromancer well before I had any conception of like what any of cyberpunk was at all ever. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And in that same way, it was one of those things that was like, this is crazy. This is like, it was also my introduction to like cyberpunk things.
Neuromancer is a funny
working or
thing too,
whatever.
because I think to your point, I think it doesn't, if you go into it with a modern sense of cyberpunk, it reads a lot more like a weird kind of druggy,
Yeah.
like noir kind of thing,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah, it
inspired by
does.
Burroughs, right? Like it came from like a weird non-cyberpunk place. It invented a thing that was then refined later.
Hey,
Yeah.
is the Library of Congress cyberpunk?
No.
No.
No. I mean, it's cool.
Not your turn, Elf.
It's not my turn. I'm sorry.
It's cool, but boo to the Library of Congress. Dungeon World is in there. Sorry, award-winning tabletop role-playing game Dungeon World is in the
Yeah,
Library
of
of
course.
Congress. Anyway, Dave, continue.
Why?
Why is it?
Why is it in there?
Because it's a book that was published in America.
Wow. I didn't know they had that many books.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have all
I
of
thought
the
it was for like important
They have
things.
all
That's
of
why.
them.
Whoa!
It's
Whoa!
like
Harsh
Alexandria.
jokes. Harsh jokes, Dave. Harsh jokes.
You imperialist bastard.
Yeah,
Dave.
that's right. oh,
Hey,
you.
It's okay. It's allowed. We've already begun the start of the great re-imperialization of Britain. We're going to kick Scotland out. We already left the EU. What do they have to do for us? I
Look
don't
out,
care.
India.
And then
We're
they're gonna
coming
go
back.
and conquer all of these places.
Bum, 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 bum,
Right.
bum, 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 bum.
You Brexit,
I was in-
and you
I was
go
in
and,
London
like,
today.
tighten up all of these things militarily and reform.
Yeah. I drove across Tower Bridge. There are some gems in there or some shit that we stole from some other countries that mean we're the greatest. And we don't need anyone.
I thought that was the Tower of London, not the bridge.
The bridge is attached to the
The
tower.
bridge is attached to the
Yeah.
tower.
They're
It's
in the
like nearby.
vicinity.
It's really weird.
I've been there. It's okay.
It's super odd to me because like you've got the Tower of London and then you kind of look at the really short like walls of it, which are obviously kept historically, and there was just some people walking past because their houses and like the doors to their houses and stuff and the little walkway for their apartments like overlooks the castle. I'm like, this is the shittest castle ever. You could literally just walk out of your house over the battlements.
Also, Adam,
Yeah.
is I think Dave's gonna come for us. So
Yeah, I know, right? Like someone
Yeah.
call our hot prime minister and tell him to look out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna fly
volunteer to
over
call the
there.
hot prime minister.
yeah.
You think it's
Go
Go Play
That's
Northwest? It's going to be Go Play Britain. Britain 2. She's gonna call upon you as sovereign states, and we're gonna have a big army, and then we're gonna go and fight America or some shit.
Yeah, the NW will be for New Wales. Go play New Wales.
Isn't that
Yeah.
Australia though?
New South Wales is
No,
Oh,
Australia.
I see. Okay,
New South Wales is Australia. Yeah, you're fine.
right, fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, we got one more. Is this
could be New
cyberpunk?
North Wales. North Wales.
you got another one? All right.
Okay, Andrew, I've saved this one for you.
Mhm.
Is the concept of things stopping existing when there is nobody around to perceive them cyberpunk?
No. And here's why.
Okay.
Cyberpunk is all about the existence of the invisible.
Ooh.
That's gonna be
Oh, it's good.
If a cyber tree falls in a cyber forest and there's no robots around, does it even make a sound?
Does it
Right,
make
like all that stuff we were
excuse me,
talking about
does it make a cyber sound?
Yeah, cyber sound. Sorry, tree falling dot wave.
Does it make a noise data point?
Exactly.
All the stuff we were talking about like the shedding of old things, and then like, yeah, it's all about stuff happening within the invisible mass of discarded whatnot.
Yeah, perception is especially a big thing in cyberpunk, right? The idea of non-real spaces. And like Case whines all the way through Neuromancer about his like having a body, and how like console cowboys, that's all they talk about. And there's the dead guy who's a construct, and how he's not like really. Yeah, totally. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, I would have also accepted the answer no, because a bishop came up with it.
Fair.
So I don't know why. I was thinking about it. We were driving home from a thing I was doing today, and I was just like, you know what? I haven't thought about in a really long time. Bishop Berkeley and immaterialism. I was just looking at trees, and I was just like, what if? But then I remembered, and I praised the Lord for his omnipotence and omniscience, so that the trees can remain there forever.
When they
It's interesting you brought that up, because I was talking about that with my roommate yesterday. That whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing people don't realize, but we think about this kind of shit all the time when we're not on stream. We just have
It's a streamer thing you wouldn't understand.
We actually do, yeah.
Long conversations about like Cartesian philosophy and shit.
I don't know about you, but definitely not me.
I never think of that shit.
I mean,
No.
Descartes and AI have a lot of overlap, right? Like Descartes is a little cyberpunk because there are a lot of AI that sort of the stories define them as like they're self-aware, therefore they exist, right? Like that's a cornerstone of AI. Like, I mean,
and
not very deep, but yeah.
And cyberpunk stories are full of bullshit mind-body dualism nonsense.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing, right? Is that, it's like if it kind of, I think, connects to like singularity stuff and like the view of the body as a primitive machine and the upgrading thereof and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yep. It's pretty good.
So it does have, it does have space. I think there's overlap there, which is interesting.
Oh, I'm not refuting your point. I'm just whining about
PlatosCave.net.
Just whining.
/Socrates Johnson.
It's actually a dilemma that Kathy's having that like as a character at the moment, because it's like she was taught the version of Cartesian dualism where you just replace thinking with streaming. And now that she no longer has that, she like questions her own like validity of existence. It's
right, the idea of if you don't have an audience, do you exist?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Or like more importantly, who cares?
Don't
no, I like that. I like that as a thing. Like, and can you be? Is there an audience of the self?
Don't do this to me.
Can you self-observe?
I don't need this today. Okay.
Good. It's a good day.
I already questioned my own existence far too much.
Yeah. Would we be real without an audience? If some streamers play a role-playing game and no one shows up, do they even exist?
Did we even play the role-playing
game?
game?
Thank you everyone in chat for confirming that we exist. Though we can't really confirm that you exist. You might all just be one artificial intelligence trying to trick us.
And if they don't exist, then how can we know that we exist?
Yeah. We're getting
vicious
some,
circle.
Seems good.
Yeah, something about mirrors and eyes.
Shades.
No, it's a tweet from Jaden Smith. Come on.
Yeah.
The greatest philosopher of our time.
I mean, yeah, totally. I think the thing is that like people joke about that, but I think that kind of thing is about as like real. It's just a different vector as like a lot of kind of philosophy of its day, where people would be like making fun of Plato, being like, yeah, you're in a cave. Yeah, there's a torch, right? But philosophy comes from all kinds of
It's post-abstract philosophy. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Either either it's incredibly like badly informed philosophy or it's post-abstract, and I'm going to go with the latter because it's way more funny.
Yeah. It's like jazz. Is it bullshit or is it music? Who knows? Who even knows? It's hard to say.
No, it's music. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, not all of it.
How can jazz be real if saxophones aren't real?
Okay, what about that? What is it? It's that John Cage song that's 2.5 minutes of silence. Is that music?
It's totally music.
Right.
Oh, it
Because-
depends on whether you're getting royalties from it on SoundCloud, like that one band.
Because if everything is art, nothing is. So art doesn't exist. Much
Is
like
nothing
Jaden
art?
Smith.
True.
Yes, nothing is art. It's the only art, really.
Hey, I got a question. Can we like play Cyberpunk here?
No.
We are. This
No,
is it.
I was promised more spotlight today, actually.
This is the pregame. Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask Dave, how was your thing? You did a thing in Meat Space. You
I
left.
did. I
You
was
left. You
Cocoon.
disconnected from the Matrix and went out into real world. How was that? What did you do?
Yeah, it was weird. I've not been to like a proper game con before. It's one called Resd in London. I didn't meet any fans. I'm very disappointed in all of you in chat. Nobody made the journey out to find me, or if you did, you didn't find me. Again, very disappointed. Yeah, it was really cool. I got to see some new games that aren't out yet. I preempted Persona by 4 whole days. But all I did really was look at the UI and stuff like that because I didn't want to read any of the text or do anything meaningful in the game.
Yep.
Because I'm kind of like that. But it was really good UI. It's just colors and shapes, and I love it. And it takes up far too much of the screen.
Persona 4 had one of the best user interfaces I've ever seen in a game. It's just like out of control, crazy good.
It's so good,
Yeah,
and
I'm
music
excited.
very good as well.
Dave enjoys the same things that small children do: colors, shapes,
Yeah,
crazy things.
bright colors,
Swords,
shapes.
robots.
Children love swords. Listen, if Lone Wolf and Cub has taught me anything, it's that kids prefer swords over balls 2-1. So, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Dawn of War 3.
Oh, really? Cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. And I messaged on Discord about it, and I got totally push nose up glasses. Do you mean that I called one of the hero units a Titan, and it wasn't. It was a knight something. Or
It was
other.
an
I was like,
Imperial Knight or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's an Imperial Knight. And I was like,
Actually,
oh,
I think
fuck.
you mean a Dreadnought.
I mean,
Nah, it was
to be
definitely
fair,
Imperial
the
Knight.
difference between a Dreadnought and a Titan is significant.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know that
Yeah,
much.
one
about
one
it.
is actually
That
big enough to
actually has
blow up a
that
planet.
as a push-up.
The other one
Well,
just stuff.
Well,
I
actually.
forgot.
Hang on.
What
I
else?
can look.
What else happened? I played VR for the first time, and I didn't
Oh.
get sick. I was really worried I'd get sick.
That's cool. What did you play?
Oh, I played like a. It was kind of like Res. It was one of the like just driving along long sort of ones to music, dodging stuff, and there was a competition, and it was for who could get the furthest, and I won
Oh, nice.
because I'm incredible at video games. And it was
Congratulations.
the first time I ever did VR. And I meant to go back because I was going to get a free Stinky for it, even though I don't actually have VR, so I wouldn't have been able to play it. But I wanted it. That's proof I won. Actually, I took a picture of the score.
That right there, that's like Steam in a nutshell. I don't actually have the thing or the ability to play the thing. But you know what? I really want all of the thing.
Yep.
Oh,
I definitely own a copy of both TIE Fighter and X-Wing and no joysticks.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Yep. Cool. I'm glad you had a good time. Do they? I mean, is there like big game con in London ever, or is this like? Are there like more small ones? Like Vancouver's the same way. We don't get anything here.
There's like that German one, but that's not in English.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Elf.
Yeah, good job.
What do you want from me?
Germany is not England.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
the last thing I'll
Look,
add
I'm
to my
really
adventure.
helpful. Okay.
The last thing I'll add to my adventure is don't believe anything Tyratop says in chat about like the guy coming on the game after me and beating me, and then I just was going to pretend that I won because I took a picture before he got put on the floor.
It's fine.
Okay, that's my whole adventure.
It was a good adventure. Thank you for sharing that with us, Dave. Elf, you have a new character.
I do.
Let's talk about that because you've got you're playing an infiltrator.
I'm playing an infiltrator.
All right. You want to talk about
All I heard in that was traitor.
the special kind of trader, the infill kind.
I mean, when am I not? Right?
Better than being a landfill trader.
It's true.
So yeah, what did you take? What are your introduce your character to us?
So my character is Elise Hemlock Hall. She's an infiltrator, and her abilities are well, actually, we'll go through her appearance first. I just took stuff off the list.
Yeah.
Her eyes are focused in blue. Her face is, and I didn't take this off the list, but I put it in quotations. Perfect. Slim body, corporate wear, white skin. She's the plan for her is that she's gonna be like an elixir aligned person.
Okay.
So it's all like genetics and like I don't know, biotech kind of stuff. Where am I here? Moves. I have covert entry, which is the base one. When you attempt to infiltrate a secure area alone, roll cool. And then you gain hold based on what you roll. And that allows you to overcome security measures sort of like automatically by spending hold.
Right. Okay.
So you can kind of be like, oh, there's a guard, but I spend a hold and I can bypass him, and then I can spend another hold and disable him.
Right, and then basically it's kind of like the shapeshift move in Dungeon World, in that you, for the druid, in that you roll in advance and then you make the move to bypass, and then I'll probably just ask you. I'll just ask you like, cool, yeah. So you see a security guard at the desk. How do you bypass him? And there's no roll. You just spend the point.
You just do it.
Right, roll in advance. Got it. That's cool.
So she's a face infiltrator. So she's like a disguise, like not a stealth infiltrator, like with a
right, not Solid Snake.
Not like Solid Snake stealth suit, like optical camouflage kind of stuff. More like I'm meant to be here, and you don't have any doubts that I'm meant to be here because I am.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
Yeah. So I have a thing that's like when you're hiding in plain sight, after you've spent all your covert entry hold infiltrating a secure area through charm and social graces, I get intel. So I get like free intel after I've infiltrated.
That's really cool. So you not only do you bypass security, but you learn little bits and pieces to assemble.
I learn about the location. Yeah. While I'm doing that.
I like it.
Yeah, she's more Agent 47 than she is Solid Snake, definitely.
Nice. Okay.
And then she has Mother Duck, which is when you infiltrate a location, you can send your team in as well. When you spend hold to bypass a security system or guard or escape notice, your team may accompany you. So I can bring the whole team into a secure location and then just be like, hey, do the thing we need to do. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. I dig it.
She's sort of a very corporate looking person, very like, clean suit, professional type. I don't really know. I'll expand upon her during gameplay.
Okay.
She's a I have weapons and like cyberware. Should I go through that stuff?
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
So I have synthetic nerves, which is the one where like it's reflex based, and if they don't have synthetic nerves, I take +1 to mix it up.
Yep.
Going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool.
And what did you choose for your cyberware? Does it belong to Elixir?
It's owned by Elixir. Yeah.
Okay.
It's owned by Elixir. These are like the choice cybernetics.
Where did you get your synthetic nerves from, QQ?
I believe all of my cyberware is owned by
Freyr, right? Yeah.
But we might have a similar model from Elixir for the synth. It might be that Elixir is the only manufacturer of synth nerves. It's just that Freyr bought and paid for mine.
Sure. Yeah, they might be white labeled, right? They're like combat tweak, different firmware, same hardware.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I have synth nerves. I have a couple of weapons. I have a monofilament whip.
Nice.
Yeah. which is the it's called the Razor's Edge, because you got to name stuff like that's like, you know, manufactured by whatever company. This is a monofilament whip by Elixir. The Razor's Edge. It's 4 harm, hand, messy, area, dangerous. It's real bad. It'll make a mess of anything.
Mm-hmm.
I have an Elixir Gladius, which is a silenced pistol, 2 harm, close, quick, and several Elixir Model 6s, which is like throwing knives.
Nice.
I imagine them to be like plastic, basically.
Are they're throwing knives? Oh, they'd be like ceramic, right? Probably.
Yeah.
Like white and gold.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
Probably like meant to be used with poison of some kind, like neurotoxin or something. But 2 harm, close, numerous for those. So I have
a suite of a person with synthetic nerves and throwing knives sounds fucking terrifying.
Yeah, right.
Stay the hell away from me.
Yeah. And I also have a disguise kit, which gives me a +1 to maintaining a fake persona, basically.
Rad. And then your directives?
I only have 1 directive. I couldn't think of a second one, so you guys may need to help me on that. But my first directive is violent, which is when you deliberately choose to use violence to overcome a non-violent problem, like, you know, something that has a non-violent solution. If you choose.
That's so interesting, because I changed my directives and I have the opposite one.
Awesome.
Yeah, if I choose to use violence when a non-violent option exists, mark XP.
If I choose to resolve a charged situation without violence, I get XP. So.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And I don't have a second thing yet. I don't know what I'm gonna.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. So changes to other characters. Do you want to talk about your changes there, Kathy?
Yeah. I modified my directives because they weren't working in play the way that I wanted them to. So my protective is now when I put my responsibility to myself ahead of the mission.
Okay.
Dark experience. So basically when I'm like, if I do this, then I'm going to get shot at, so I'm just not going to do it. It's similar in scope to the protecting the drones, but I think that I can probably play it a little bit better. So
what does your responsibility to yourself look like? Let's talk about like what Give me your
it's
idea
protective. So I'm going with the vein of like, if I were told to do something and that thing will put me in danger, or if I could do it in a way where like it's not exactly what you said, but then I'm not getting hurt, or stuff like that.
So it's mostly about
I took
like
a move called exit strategy.
It's mostly about physical endangerment.
I think so.
Okay, I'm just being clear. Okay, and you took exit strategy.
Yeah. So I always have an escape plan prepared when shit hits the fan and you decide to bail out. Roll mind. So that is in line, I think, with changing my protective from the drones to my own ass.
Nice. And this is essentially the Battle Babe like duck out move from Apocalypse World. So yeah, cool. You escape and you can take things with you. Or I guess in the inverse is true. You have to leave things behind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's any choice to take things with me. It's just I get out. And on a 10+, I leave 1 thing behind, and on a 7 to 9, I leave 2 things behind.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, you lost one of your drones. So you're currently sans B. But you can always buy or build another one with time and work. So
would that be under like customizer? Could I just build one with customizer, or is that to modify?
That's to modify. You'd have to spend credit to like
buy one and then modify it.
Exactly. Okay. You can't just conjure one from nothing.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, cool. So this mission, we had agreed the last time, and I got some clarification from Hamish, from the designer, about how the clocks work, because I wasn't sure. Because a clock traditionally, when you hit midnight, it rolls back over. These clocks do not. When they fill, they stay full. And we are hanging on the edge. We are 2 minutes to midnight on Krug here. So instead of laying low and paying them off with the meager credits y'all have, it's time to strike back. So I put together a little mission that will come to you by way of an NPC, an opportunity to hit Krug where they live. Folks who are watching at home, as usual, you can see more of the mission than the players can. The things that are sort of semi-grayed out, mostly around the edges of the clocks here, the players can't see those. So keep that in mind if you're watching this live in chat. You know, don't spoil them.
Don't shitpost spoilers into the chat, please.
Yeah, exactly. So I think unless there's anything that we want to do beforehand, I can just start with the start. We'll still make the, you know, get the job move and follow the same protocols, but this kind of mission won't have any payout at the end. There's no cred to be staked. So you won't have to spend any to get onto the mission, but you won't get any inherently coming out. But we are, of course, open to the opportunity to recover stuff, you know, as you go, to find opportunities.
Yeah,
to make
let's
money.
do it.
Understand correctly. Completing this mission will lower our Krug clock.
Yes. Yeah.
That
Now,
is essentially our payout.
I am not sure by how much it's supposed to go down, but we'll figure that out as we go. So the other thing I wanted to make sure we do is connect Hemlock to QQ, Cathode, and Neat. So Hemlock isn't just nobody you meet in a tavern because Gandalf is like, this is your new best friend. Hemlock is a person who runs in maybe not the same circles, but has some overlap with y'all.
I'm a professional.
Yeah, so you've got some stuff. Let's do your links, Hemlock.
Oh, sure. I can't remember how we do this. I'm not gonna be
Yeah, me neither, to be honest.
Links.
Oh yeah, and we
get
didn't do
on that.
links because, as is tradition, we forgot we didn't do links between QQ, Cathode, and Neat last time.
I had 3 on Flamingo. You're so close to becoming an XP. Damn it. Oh well, delete.
So the way that links work in character creation, at least, was that
Okay.
you named a company that you did a job against, and one person.
Oh yeah, of course. I remember.
Exactamundo. So
And then you get extra heat with that company.
Krug.
So yeah, it's like
No.
it's really dangerous if that's how it works now. I don't know if that's how, because like in Apocalypse World, traditionally there's different rules for hex when you're.
Yeah, let me
mixes.
scope it out because I think we just do it. I think it's like you just described.
It's-
We don't do
it's
the whole set for the team, but we would do like
just
Hemlock
name it.
describes a mission, and then y'all can be like, "Oh, I was on that mission. I know Hemlock." And if you weren't on the mission, maybe you don't know Hemlock, right? We would just
Okay,
do one
so,
instead of like another full round.
I think I did a mission
Sounds
against.
good.
I think I did a mission against Freyr.
Okay.
And this is one of those petty corporate missions that Elixir sort of hired out on, where Freyr were trying to develop some kind of like luxury land vehicle, and that's like stepping on some toes, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So the blueprints were stolen, you know, and returned to their rightful place in the hands of the Muchlux Elixir Corporation.
Cool. Okay. So for you, you're like an infiltrator, right? So what role did you play in that mission against Freyr?
I mean, I was the security disabling factor, you know. I had to get into the security room and like sneak past a whole bunch of automated security because it's Freyr. Get to the security room and disable the actual system so that the rest of the group could like move in and deal with the
Recovering the prototype, or
recovering the actual prototype.
okay, all right. I'm just trying to find the links section here before we start adding any.
I have the links section.
What,
It's on
what page is it
page
on?
146.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I was almost there. Oh, this is the end of mission one. I'm looking for the character creation one.
Oh, not B.
Let's take a look. I just want to know how much to go by. It's like for each person that participated, right? It goes up by 1.
I think it was just because
I think it was for each person that participated. Yeah.
Here we go. Define the corporations. Links. Okay, here we go. So you describe your character. Tell everybody about a job you did against one of the corporations. You name the corporation you ran, your role in the job, which you've done. You're playing a leading role in the job. If a countdown clock already exists, we start it. The player to your left will say how they were involved, and then they take +1 links with your character. I'm not sure about how to get you linked to everyone else. Maybe just we do +1 in both directions.
I mean, that's fine. Like, I don't know. We can
Yeah, why don't we just do it that way? So if somebody was on the mission with you, both of you take +1 with you.
Okay, so we'll just +1 each other. Yeah.
Okay, so according to my layout, to your left is Neat. Neat, were you involved in this mission?
Yeah, I was. I remember it because it was my first anti-corporate run. And I remember being very kind of nervous about the whole thing, but Hemlock kind of reminded me of a ninja, and it was very like encouraging to see someone like so professional and like so kind of graceful. Like she could both talk her way through and fight her way through stuff. So she was an inspiration to me in starting my own team, actually. So that's why I hit her up when we need to get a replacement in the team.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool. Now keep a note here. The Freyr clock is at 2,300 hours. If anyone else was involved in this mission now will start with Freyr hitting you where you live, which is fine.
So no, I was not involved. Definitely no.
I expect, like, chronologically as well. If Neat was just starting out, Cathode probably wasn't there.
Yeah,
So.
that's true.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Also, hilariously, I was involved in this mission, but on the Freyr side of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Flamingo.
So that's not against,
Yeah,
so it wouldn't put the clock.
No,
out
I don't
if
get
you
any
were-
links, but yeah, QQ was there, but like I'm in like
That's-
all these like other parallel scenes.
Oh,
of,
there's a bit. Actually, I'm on the page. You're like quoting the reference material from Count Zero on that page, because there's a conversation in Count Zero where a couple of runners are like, "Yeah, I was there. I worked at that place when you hit it." And then they're like, "Is this going to be a problem?" It's like, "No, just
Yeah.
I know how you operate."
QQ totally found like the body of some security guard or something during this mission.
yeah, like I was there for some other business and with Flamingo, and then like shit went down. When I came in, I showed
I
up
love
late
it.
and was like, "Oh, everyone's all fucked
Nice.
up."
So which one of you, QQ or Neat? I'm guessing probably Neat, but which one of the two of you pulled Hemlock for this job?
Me. I think
Yeah,
it was
it was.
I think
it
Neat
was
does the recruiting.
Yeah, he said that he pulled me in because of that job we did before, sort of thing, and that I was
I knew you were
professional during
professional.
that. Yeah.
I'd love to have an opportunity at the beginning of this scene, beginning of this episode. Like, I think this is the episode that starts at Flamingo's funeral, because you get cyber funerals are the best.
What do we even do?
I don't know. There's like, I mean, there's still the ritual, right? Like, there's a place and there's a coffin and there's like a hole in the ground and
Is there
whatever.
is there
I mean,
room
no,
in the
she
ground for
She was
bodies right now?
incinerated.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I would
she's-
definitely. Yeah.
it's up to Elf, right? So Elf, what do you want to talk about that? What is?
I feel like because parts of Flamingo's brain were still owned by Freyr. That's probably relevant to her funeral or like her death, because they stopped getting that whatever that transmission is. So it's one of those things where it's like, I don't work for you anymore, but I used to, and I have all this stuff in my head. So like, here you
So
go.
your body belongs to Freyr when you.
Yeah,
They probably give you like a Viking funeral, right? There's
yeah,
probably.
I feel like it's like they belong. The body belongs to the corporation, right?
So the scene is in like one of the Freyr arcologies in one of the like sort of park areas, and and there's just like a big like bonfire in the middle, and somewhere in it is what's left of Flamingo after the sensitive
After
material
they
has been removed.
extracted all of her.
Took all the expensive stuff. Yeah. So your body's being
Yeah.
incinerated, and there's like, you know, simulated funeral weather, right? Like it's like you're inside a dome in an arcology, and it's like gray. They've turned on the rain, so all the like recycled water is being like, you know, poured down in this park. And I think we see around this big like Viking style funeral pyre, just like a bunch of corporate like people with like robot assistants, like drones, like those like Freyr drones that we saw holding umbrellas over them. Right? Like, because every Freyr bigwig has like a butler robot essentially.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm there, but I don't have a robot.
I
Yeah.
have
I'm,
I
like,
have
in the
Puppy
back
Cat,
listening.
like, and
Yeah.
Puppy Cat's just like really short and so can't do anything for me, but is still like got like a tiny little like umbrella like over its sensitive like some kind of protective thing over its like eye sensitive sensor gear so that the rain doesn't like mess it all up.
Cool.
It just looks
Yeah.
funny. I think that looks funny.
I'm at one of the specially designated like near but also out of sight of everybody. Like they put trees in this area
Yeah.
for people who are kind of like want to be there but don't want to be seen to be there.
That's how every
Or be,
badass
like, edgy.
attends. Yeah, that's how every badass attends a funeral ever. Standing somewhere at the back, drinking, standing there staring in the rain. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've actually just like got that set up, and like because there are multiple, they've got to be like multiple funerals happening at the same time in this plot, and it's just like a square on the grid, and it's just like walled off, and it's like this is our private cemetery for like I don't know 2 hours. So I'm at the edge of the plot and at the tree in this particular plot, like on looking, and there's probably like I don't know, like 500 meters away in the next plot. Also a tree in that part of the plot, and there's somebody else who is filling that role of me standing there looking edgily on a
Right.
funeral.
Yeah.
And it's like copy and pasted over a couple of times.
That's fantastic. I love it. That's the perfect send off.
So maybe Neat, your I think this is you. You're there. You've gotten I'll give you the information that sort of starts the mission, and maybe you're here to like collect your friends, because it was a thing you knew everyone would be at. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay, so I think maybe like a day or so ago. How long has it been since the fated mission on the Hulk?
Can't have been too long.
Yeah, a week.
Just dealing with Flamingo's funerary stuff.
Yeah, I
You
can't
don't
imagine
stay
it
on the
takes
body
long
for
to
too
process, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it can be, right? There's a backlog. People die all the time. But yeah, if you want it to be relatively quick, that's fine.
The only reason I say that, Adam, is that Freyr seems like the kind of corporation that would be very, very, very used to like their people dying and them having to
Totally.
like put on funerals.
Yeah.
Like this is one of those things that just like every day, every day there's somebody in this plot of land doing something, because they're like a war company.
Well, it's it's like a temple space, not a cemetery. Like it's an open area of grass and trees, but the like kind of ambiance is a lot of it is just AR, right? Like there's a skybox that if you have your AR turned off, you're just looking at the actual sky through a big like hexagonal glass dome sticking out of the side of this arcology. But they're running funeral.exe, and so it's like kind of dirgy and like
yeah,
grim. I mean, being an Elixir like environmental engineer is like a big deal, right? Creating these kinds of things, building ambiance. It's like a set dressing for all kinds of things. And yeah, there's a custom one for Freyr employees or former employees. Yeah, and so they're running this program, this funeral program for you, and and you have your like mourners there. How many of them are actually people who knew Flamingo, and how many of them are like this is just part of their job to like attend funerals?
I think there are definitely some professional funeral goers in the crowd, but also like Flamingo was well liked to a certain degree, but she talked to a lot of people, so I can't imagine that there's also not at least a couple of people.
That's true with Flamingo, so yeah, you're relatively well connected.
Flamingo was well happy to just make contacts. So
is Sigrid at the funeral?
Yeah, I was gonna say Sigrid's totally there.
I don't know, because she wasn't like in love with Flamingo. She just like had a crush on her, and so it might like. I feel like if your only real interest in a person is that you want to bone them, you probably wouldn't go to their funeral. Like you don't really belong there. She probably got
a very specific kind of person.
She probably got the notification, but was like, "Ugh, that sucks.
Yes, awkward.
I'm gonna not go." Yeah, totally, because you don't want to run into their like anyone that's actually like close to them.
I
Like
guess they
me.
hadn't actually.
Yeah,
dated
exactly. And be
yet.
like, so how did you know Flamingo? And you're like, no, I just really wanted to like, you know, chuck it in her. Yeah, so not so much. I think, yeah, probably not. She probably trashed that email. So neat. I think maybe, I don't know, the night before or some point during the day previous, you got you had a conversation in the Matrix with Mr. Blank. He hit you up and was like, "Hey, I need to talk to you." So maybe we see you, you know, brooding at the edge of the funeral, somewhere the lights of the funeral pyre. I think the fire's in AR too. Like, I think your body's been like chopped up and repurposed somewhere else. This is just like
Yeah, there's
symbolic.
probably just like a flat disintegration field, and you just like lower a coffin or something into it, and it just
Yeah, totally. And so there's this reflection of the AR like fire in your sunglasses, and through you we remember this Matrix space before. Where did you describe the server in which you met with Mr. Blank? What does the virtual environment look like?
The virtual environment I've had at the moment is it was part of the deal with yeah, no, it was probably part of the deal with Muramasa. I also got like the custom codes for having an AR version of the sword, because
God, the
obviously
sword.
you
The
need
sword is like pre-ordering a video game. You get a custom like PS4 dashboard theme with it.
Oh man.
Yeah, like when you buy the physical thing, it's also incredibly important to people like us to have exclusive rights to the 3D model for it for using in cyberspace.
Sure.
And you can't have one without the other unless you're just like really, really tacky, and everyone will know and everyone will hate you.
Yeah, people
Like, you
do
can't-
all the time though, right?
So there's a
Yeah.
I guess we see then like the infinite field of green and black lines, and then this like kind of perfect shogunate era like castle. There's maybe like a pond around it. We can see some sort of neon herons, kind of like, you know, trying to catch koi, also neon orange, like
Oh,
floating in
God,
the pond
yeah.
outside.
Like, he totally has to walk over like a red wooden bridge, like over a small river to
Yeah.
get to the
Totally. Little
dojo
like
I'm sat at.
little perfect cherry blossoms kind of like floating by in the VR space as
Yeah,
he
it's
walks.
if anybody's played Neo, it's exactly the trading dojo.
Yeah,
like
that's what I was.
I'm imagining.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of too. Yeah. So
Is
yeah,
there,
he
like, a little shrine that you have to pay your respects at.
Yeah, he walks up into the courtyard of this this little like space to meet you. And as we remember, Mr. Blank he wears his avatar as just like a kind of salaryman like suit, and then his head is the dot of a big question mark, and he's got like a little like bowler on top of the dot. And we see his perfectly polished imaginary cyber shoes you know, cross the threshold into the courtyard. What are you doing when he comes into your little like castle that you have going?
Yeah, I'm watching the like view numbers on the video I had of me fighting the giant robot with chainsaw arms. I'm just like watching the numbers tick up on that, and just like.
Right. Yeah. So an AR, like there's an AR sort of video up with a bunch of floating displays kind of hanging above it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and you hear. I mean, you're aware. It's your cyber domain, so you were aware that he was here from the beginning, and you hear, you know, his shoes crunch on the. Crunch on the gravel, and I think it's quiet. Like we can hear. God, what is that? There's that thing. It was in the end of the big fight at the end of Kill Bill 1. The little like it fills with water, and then it goes like clunk. And
Yeah, the little fountain.
Yeah, so we just hear that like
That is.
clunking occasionally, little fountain thing. And then he makes the Mr. Blank equivalent of like clearing his throat, to like kind of announce that he's arrived.
Oh. I'm glad to hear from you again. I was concerned that our previous interaction had meant you were no longer interested in doing business.
he says, neat. I'm a professional. As if that explains everything.
Yeah, I turn and nod.
He says, I haven't much time, but I have an opportunity for you. Something I discovered while I was digging around. And he walks over to you, and as he does, he reaches into his coat, obviously symbolically, right? He's bringing up a file. And he holds out in his hand the kind of VR, the Matrix icon of like a garbage can, a little like old-timey looking garbage can. And he opens it, and he says, I found this file hidden in a processing area, old Krug server. And he says, I thought you would want to see it. And when he opens it, it kind of like unfolds, and you can see like unfinished, like he obviously tried to download the file and it didn't get finished. So there's lots of corrupted data. There's like glitchy video files, some images that aren't fully resolved. But it definitely looks like personnel files on you and your team, including some like relatively sensitive information. And he says, sorry, I don't have the rest of it. This came along with some information that I was digging for an employer. You can have it, of course. Yeah. And he like he offers the transfer of this incomplete file.
Yeah, I okay it. I say, well, I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. It seems things have got a little hot with them.
He nods, and the big question mark sort of returns to place. And he says, as a professional courtesy, I thought I would extend to you the opportunity to find the rest of the file, to delete what I could not. I'm sorry, I didn't have enough time to do it myself, but I thought this would be something.
Did you see, by the way, yeah, the professional, like the man draws for a second, he's like, did you see, by the way, the, why they're after us? Like, and I'd like point behind me to like the leaping video of me.
Sure, and you can see it reflected on the perfect chrome sphere of his head. And he says, yes, he is very impressive. A little physical for my tastes, but I understand that's how you operate. Shame about your friend.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
He says, if you are going to go after them, Krug, I mean, be careful. There's something unusual about the server I found this on. Doesn't look like it's being remotely backed up, which is good for you. Only one copy of the file, but it comes and goes. Goes, mostly. I haven't seen it in some time. If you can track down the server, destroy the hard copy, seems like you'd be safe. Safe as you can be, anyway. Life you live.
Great. This sounds perfect. I think I know somebody who might be able to help out with this. Yeah, that's great. Stay in touch.
He says,
I'm sure I can repay the favor.
Yeah, he says, yes, please. Let me know how it goes. And yeah, and he bows deeply to you and turns on the ball of his foot with a crunch of the gravel, and he crosses the bridge again to leave your little domain. And then I think that's when you get a little like notification, a reminder notification that pops up about like, you have an appointment in 12 hours, and it's like Flamingo's like funeral notification.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Okay, yeah, cool. And then we cut back to the scene of the like the priest or whoever finishing whatever it is that they're saying about Flamingo, and then we cut back to you by the tree, sort of out at the edge.
Okay, I don't roll get the job, do I now? Because it's
no, I think you can, because you still, there's just some options that don't apply anymore. Right. But the other options you can certainly choose from. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that now before we move on.
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
So I'm rolling edge. Nine.
Okay. All right. So you've got a 9. So you can choose one thing from that list. Obviously, the job pays well. Isn't an option, but yeah. I guess the employer is identifiable. Also, not really. Like there's no employer.
Yeah. I think since this is on my private server and this is my first video doing stuff in cyberspace, it doesn't attract attention.
Okay.
Like it's very heavily encrypted in there.
Sure. Yeah. No one notices Mr. Blank come to talk to you. There's no surveillance. You know, we don't see like a cyber raven flutter off the rooftop at the end of the scene. Yeah. Okay.
No.
All right. Yeah. So we cut back to maybe Neat. You're like approaching like QQ, or I guess Kathy, are you and QQ at the funeral like together, or are you awkwardly kind of standing at opposite sides of the crowd? Like this is the tricky thing about this this group too, is that like and I guess the game and the way that it's structured, I don't know if the characters spend time together much between sessions, or if it's just like you work together and then you separate. So tell me about that a little bit.
I think Andrew and I kind of talked about this in so much as that, yes, like Kathy and QQ are gonna spend more time together, I think. So
yeah. So QQ is hanging out with Kathy.
Yeah, they'd be there together.
Awkward, but
maybe like we're not comfortable, obviously, but yeah, we're both gonna be here, so yeah, we're not trying to avoid each other.
Okay, so the two of you are standing kind of next to each other, getting rained on while everyone else isn't.
Yeah.
All right. So Neat, you see the two of them there.
Well, I hope the ceremony is useful in providing some closure for both of you, but I tend to find what also works in this particular situation is revenge. I have an opportunity if you're both interested.
That's more my style.
Good. We'll talk more somewhere else, somewhere less. And I like look up and I gesture at the like kind of obvious skybox, because we got a decent package, but we've not got like the primo.
Yeah.
Just trail off there. So at least make them aware. I figure we meet again. I invite them online.
So
because
before we leave the funeral scene, I think people are starting to like dissipate a little bit. There's someone at Freyr QQ that you know, who was like close to Flamingo, who, as they pass by you, and I want you to tell me more about this person, but as they pass by you, they give you a look that in no uncertain terms is like, how dare you let this happen? Like you fucked up. Who is this person?
I think this was like Flamingo's direct report, like whoever Flamingo worked directly under, and they didn't appreciate Flamingo's choice to have me as her bodyguard.
Right. This is the like only human thing, right? Where it's like, why would you want a cyborg when you could have like, okay.
You could have an army
so Elf, did you and this person, is this something you got in an argument about?
Yeah, definitely. Because Flamingo favored QQ over like every operative that was available. For whatever reason, it was one of those things where it was like, well, I could have this heavy or that heavy or this other heavy, but I want QQ because I like QQ and QQ.
Right. And so this person, this supervisor of yours, I guess, Elf, is it help me understand this person. What's their gender? I want to know their motivation here. Was this just a like, you're not doing what I want, or like, God damn it, I love you, I don't want you to die because of this asshole? I
think they're male and probably like one step up, basically, from where Flamingo was, like a supervisor or something of like that department.
Okay.
Was this another person who had aspirations around Flamingo?
Well, or maybe like, yeah, was this like a workplace romance situation or like?
I definitely think whoever this is, we fucked on more than one occasion.
Okay. All right. And that's Flamingo's opinion of how the situation went, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's
Strictly
go.
business.
Oh god, it's probably because you're both sort of owned, or you were. He's probably the person who looked the other way kind of when you left with some of the extra stuff.
Yeah.
Because he thought there was a connection there.
But
Oh,
there
that's
wasn't.
brilliant.
There wasn't really.
Yeah, there wasn't for
Flamingo,
her.
because Flamingo is a manipulative bitch.
Okay, let's
Was.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Ow. Right in the feels.
Just preparing you.
let me find a name for this guy. His name is Noah, his first name. Let's see, a good last name for him. I think he used to work in the Hong Kong office. I think he's half English, half Chinese.
I feel like the Hong Kong office of Freyr would be awesome.
Fucking awesome, right? Yeah. Okay, his name is we'll go simple, nice common name, Noah Wong.
Yeah.
And yeah, like he was about that. He thought that there was something there between the two of you. And maybe if you hadn't left, maybe, there could have been something. And I think that
whole narrative, yeah.
Even up to the end, right, where he was just like, you can still come back. Like we can make this happen. You can turn this shit around. And like, you probably have a lot of messages from him that are like, listen,
Definitely
he did that thing where he was like, I'm worried about you. That was a thing that he said to you all the time. He's like, Erica, I'm worried about you.
It's one of those, like, I'm going to give you the space that you want, but only for like 2 or 3 days, and I'm going to message you again. Kind of situations.
And be super needy and
A
possessive.
fully color. Yeah, it's a fully color Flamingo for me. Did she have a carefully curated amount of responses before she would string him along with another response to get his hopes back up?
Yes, of course. She kept him dead on the line.
It's like 10 every time.
Because this is a person that could help her at some point in the future if relations are maintained to a certain degree.
Oh god. So this is I love that this isn't just like office creep guy. This is like Flamingo also, like I imagine this
Flamingo
is the kind of guy who
indulged in his fantasy.
Yeah, who Flamingo would text pretending to be drunk late at night and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And like just to string him along. Oh man.
Yeah.
Cool. You both had problems.
I mean, what character of mine doesn't have some
So
serious...
Noah's like a pretty a big deal at Freyr. He's a driven guy. I wonder if he's gonna stay here or if he's gonna move back to Hong Kong, because this place has some bad memories from now. And QQ, he fucking hates you. He hates you so much because A, you let Erica get killed, and B, if she had just listened to him in the first place, then this never would have happened. You're not perfect enough. You could have been a robot, but you're not.
Also, Flamingo and QQ.
Yeah, sure.
Vaguely of romance.
Yeah, and I guess that's the other thing where he was just like.
But hilariously, I don't think QQ and Flamingo ever had sex.
I don't think they did.
Yeah. But of course, he assumed that was part of it. Like
they just had a very romantic relationship together.
Yeah.
Why else would she choose?
Yeah, they were just very close.
Well, and that's the thing. There are some communications that obviously Noah always apologized for after, but he said some pretty shitty things about QQ, referred to QQ as your whore and your sex bot, and I don't understand why you can't just get a proper security team. Listen,
and
I'm not going to judge
QQ
you for your weird problems, but yeah.
Yeah, QQ doesn't know about any of these emails.
Oh,
either.
yeah, no.
I'm just that guy's always kind of a jerk. What's his deal? And Flamingo would be like, oh, don't worry about him.
Right, because again, I guess that's the thing, Flamingo. How much were you playing QQ around this?
I mean, I don't think I really discussed Noah with QQ as much as possible because I knew they didn't like each other.
Right.
It's one of those things where the more you create a problem between two people, the more it becomes a real thing that you have to deal with. And Noah's far away and QQ is close. So QQ gets all the yes, you are my favorite person. You know, and Noah gets all the like, you're gonna be useful
Right.
later.
QQ also getting played. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Flamingo's she's just that kind of person.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Whether she was sincere or not, it's hard to say, right? It's
Well,
always...
I think that's the fundamental thing about being that person in the center of the manipulator web is that eventually, like, Flamingo probably didn't know what her own feelings were anymore.
Yeah, everyone becomes
everyone is an object to be manipulated.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this guy, this Noah Wong, who you know like personally, QQ, because you've got business with Fair and stuff too.
Yeah.
Walks by you in the rain, gives you this look like, how fucking dare you?
But he's just like passive aggressive about it.
Yeah, he doesn't stop and talk to you or anything.
See, QQ doesn't play that game. If people aren't just directly aggressive with me, I don't give a crap about them. Okay. So yeah, he walks by and I just like completely stonewall him. Like her face has no expression at all, and like my eyes pass over him, but he doesn't get the feeling that I've even looked at him.
Okay. Kathy, you see this look, and you were a part of a community of very tightly knit, very public people for a long time, and you know what drama looks like. You've seen that look before.
100%.
This is a like, ooh, you fuck my girlfriend look. Like, this is a bad. So this guy is going to be problems for you.
And
later.
When he's about a meter like past, QQ just says like quietly but loud enough so that you can hear her. She's just like, prick.
Okay. So he takes a couple more steps, and then you hear his. We don't see him. We see you just say like prick, and we see him like blurry in the background, and he stops. And like as he turns in perfect sync. Like he's probably got some kind of neural link with his like butler, so that like the robot turns exactly as he does. And he says like kind of at the same like volume. He's like, "Excuse me."
I said prick.
Do you turn around?
I mean, I'm not really like looking at him. I'm just like talking into space.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's looking at your back, and you're looking at the fire.
Yeah, totally.
He says something like very, very derisive about cyborgs in Mandarin.
He's from Hong Kong and speaks Mandarin.
Hong Kong, it would be Cantonese.
He speaks both.
Wouldn't it?
He speaks both. Well, I mean, QQ speaks Mandarin, so I guess he's...
That's
why he's... Yeah, so... and QQ's just like, oh, go die.
He says, well, so he says something, just to give you some context. He uses a particular slur that became popular during some kind of like civil problem in Hong Kong dealing with like cyber like people. I think that, yeah, relatively recently, like within the last like 5 or 10 years, there have been some like, because I think the Hong Kong government still exists. It's a corporation, but it's like the government of Hong Kong Incorporated. And
Hong Kong's always kind of had that.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Status.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So like the city of Hong Kong is a mega corporation, and and they like passed some kind of like deal where there was like kind of against cyborgs, like setting them down a social class, denying them a bunch of like privileges that biological citizens have once you have a certain percentage of things. So
it was like the Preservation of Humanization Act of
exactly. Yeah.
2048.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, he just says something rude and uses like that term that you know to be a slur in that case. And then what did you say?
And yeah, so like in Mandarin, she's just like, oh, go die. Like just says some very like typical, like telling you off kind of stuff. Like she's just...
And he
and then I like turn around and I'm just like, what, are we gonna like fight at her funeral or some shit? Come on.
Yeah, he scowls and he gives you like a long like look up and down, and he says most of what you're made of belongs to us. I could have you turned off.
You do turn me off, you know that? You and your type. Why don't you get your little tin can to take it from me?
He scowls and shakes his head, and he says, "You shouldn't be here. It's embarrassing."
And like I like from behind QQ, I whisper, I'm like, that drone could actually probably take you. Like knowing the model, like knowing what it's equipped with, I'm just like, don't you probably
Yeah,
So
totally. So we
I
see
think
the drone through yeah, like Cathode's eyes, and you have more of the like Terminator vision on the drone, because I imagine you're like too curious not to look.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean you've seen QQ fight, and QQ is a killer of men, and like it'd be a good fight, but it would cost both of them. But that's not his intent, right? He's
Well,
he's
I
not,
know, but like
I
that's
mean,
what
yeah.
cathode. That's yeah.
Sure.
And so yeah, QQ just says to him, "Why don't you take a picture and go complain at it? Because I don't want to fucking hear it."
And he's got this scowl plaster in his face, and he says, Flamingo could have had a long, and he says Flamingo sarcastically, like Flamingo, like the disgusting name you use for her, had a long career ahead of her, and you and your failings cut that short. We won't forget this. And by we, he means like, you're in my house.
Company.
Yeah.
You and I both know that the company forgets everyone as soon as they die. It's a long fucking list.
The company might forget, but I have a long memory and a bad temper. And he looks at you and says, enjoy the time you have left. And he turns around.
And I'm just like, I'm right here. And I do the like, that like body language where I'm just like,
come at me, let's fight. Yeah.
And there's this weird, image of like QQ posturing at this guy's back with like the funeral pyre behind her.
Was this entire conversation in Mandarin?
No, he switched to English right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like I'm assuming he's walking away. He's left.
Yeah, and I think him, like the fact that he stopped to talk to you, like a bunch of his underlings who are here so that he would see them at the funeral and be like, oh yes, you were there. You obviously care about stuff, and like raise their social level. They all like take clear note of the three of you. Like these are enemies of the state. And like, kind of.
Yeah, to me that is, I know it's a retroactive 2300 on Freya, but that is like 2300 on Freya.
Yeah, exactly. That's very much what I'm trying to convey here. Yeah.
Well, and like I think Kathy is just trying to look like small and like, this is fine. Okay.
Yeah, I shrug like next to you, QQ. I'm like, nah. What kind of life is a career? It's fine.
And I'm like, that's just one of Erica's projects gone wrong. And I like walk off.
I like how sometimes Neat says things that you would find written on a very expensive t-shirt in Harajuku. What kind of life is a career?
Yeah. And I'm done with money.
Yeah,
And
that's on a camouflage bathing ape t-shirt that costs $600.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I think that's the thing. You're like, he's just one of Erica's projects. Like, we're done with this. And the three of you, we get the like sort of pull away shot as the three of you leave the E funeral. And yeah, let's grab a break and we'll do the kind of briefing opportunity to hit Krug scene when we get back. Yeah. Cool. All right. Stick around, everybody. We'll take a short break and we'll be back in just a couple minutes with more of the Sprawl. Stick around.